Bling, 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 bloop. Hi, welcome back to Mediocre Arts and Crafts. This is Bug. Today I'm going to make a card that features these Dress My Craft dies, this more Big Time Saying stamp set from Maymay Made It, the All About You set from Maymay Made It, and this amazing Dots and Stripes paper and some Versaclear ink. So the first thing I did was I took the yellow piece out of the Dots and Stripes gingham and cut a oval with the largest die from the double stitched oval dies set. Like I said, this is from Dress My Craft. These will be linked below. I'm not sure that they're in stock today, but there are a couple of different dies, and these sets are really great value for the price. So I went ahead and made my way over to my Gemini and cut that out. I had to swivel my camera arm like 180 degrees in order to do this, so that took me, a good 6 seconds. And then line it up there. Oh, and there we go. So I unsandwiched my sandwich. You see I use a self-healing mat for my one of my plates, and I just rotate it every so often. And I cut these two out, but I only end up using the largest one on this card. So set the other one aside. So now I take the light blue piece of paper from the same pack, and I cut it down to the size of a card front. So this is 5.5 by 4.25. This card has this one piece as the back piece. And then I'm cutting off just a little piece to create a hinge. Right there, I'm kind of checking it out to see if there are dotted lines printed on across the top of the paper where the hole is, just to kind of see if I can maximize that page to its fullest potential. And then I went ahead and I ended up cutting that down. It ends up at 2 inches by 5.25 inches. And then I score it at 1 inch. So again, it's 2 inches by 5.25. I scored at 1 inch and then I fold it. So essentially I have a 1 inch hinge and then a piece of 2 inch by 4.25 cardstock attached to the hinge. Grab my Misty, pull out the Phenomenal stamp from Maymay's More Big Time Sayings stamp set. The video doesn't really do this justice, neither do the photos that I took, but this Warm Breeze VersaFine Clear ink on this yellow paper is really something special. So I go ahead and stamp that down, and I do it a second time just because I want a little darker image. And then as I was doing the second one, I realized that I didn't season the stamp before I used it, so that might have been part of that. So now I take the Times Ahead sentiment from the More Big Time Saying set, and really I edited this so it looks like I just kind of sat it there and picked it up with my Misty and was ready to go. But I played with that for a full 1.5 minutes, I think, before I got it exactly where I wanted it to be. And then I ink it up with the same color, the Warm Breeze, and stamp that down. So now I take the sheet of blue, the light blue, and I'm basically using this as the back half of the card. You can see that I'm using both my mat with the grid and my fingers and my eyeballs and all of the things to kind of see if I can figure out how to best center this strip of paper on that base. So this white sheet was a little wider than the dark blue strip that I had, so I cut it down a little bit so it wouldn't show on the right and left side. Here I'm just checking the size again, making sure that once I close it, it's not going to show white on either side. I really think that now that I'm looking at it, if it could have had maybe 1/8 of an inch on both sides, that would have looked a little, that would have looked neat and kind of broken up the colors. So I just took my pencil and kind of pointed it at the what I decided was the middle of the paper and am counting squares again. And a T-square or a centering ruler would have been really handy here, but I didn't have one on me, so this is how I did it. And it turned out all right. So now I'm taking this one piece of cardstock with the 1-inch hinge, and I'm going to glue it in the middle of this paper, centering it the best that I can. And then trying to make sure I get it all the way to the top. I stare at it for a good 30 seconds here, but then I decide that it looks just fine, and I'm ready to go. You'll notice also that I have the smaller check in the back and then the bigger check on that strip just to kind of break things up a little bit. That was on purpose. At some point, I realized that it was going to look like that and decided that I liked the way that looked. Also, I used the small gingham for the yellow piece that's showing. So here I have the white strip of cardstock, and I want to make sure that it's not going to show, that it's totally covered by the blue strip of cardstock when it is closed. So I just kind of held it there and closed it down with the glue on it and made sure that it was all covered up. And then it takes me a minute to kind of decide how I want to do this. I did struggle with figuring out how to get it centered, but in the end, I just eyeballed it. I thought I was going to glue it down right here, but then I realized that I probably need to kind of mark off the section that I need to put the glue on, otherwise the whole thing's going to stick down. So then it takes me another minute to figure out how to identify where the glue goes on the back of this sheet. So I go ahead and just make some marks. So before I make the marks, I center the oval, use a piece of purple tape, Any kind of washi tape or mint tape or yellow tape will do here. Made some marks, left that little purple tape hinge on there while I went ahead and put some glue down in that little area that I marked off, and went ahead and glued it down. So I wanted to put some hearts on here, and you see I'm kind of moving the stamp block with the heart stamp on it around the page, kind of getting a visual. And then I'm just decide that I'm going to put a little row just across the right hand side. So I got out my Tulip Red VersaFine Clair ink, and this is the largest heart stamp from Maymay's All About You stamp set. I like this heart stamp because it has a little swirl in it, which really gives it some interest and is different than other heart stamps that I have. So then I just put 4 across the right side. And then I go in with my new Jelly Roll Stardust marker. It is clear but has a shimmer to it, and I just went through and on my hearts and throughout the letters here made some little highlight marks. I got a couple good shots of it, but these highlights really make a big difference in person. Picking up this particular pen was almost an afterthought for me, but it is well worth it. I'm going to link it below. There is a very good chance that this is now a standard required item in my craft supplies. And there you have it, my phenomenal times ahead card featuring Maymay Made It stamps. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.